My name is Faraz Ramji. I run a company called Norda Industries, which we started in 2007. We're most famously known for Urban Bites, which is a potato chip. I think it's one of the most loved crisps in Kenya and in the region. So that's what we do. You know, one of our raw materials is potatoes, and it's extremely challenging to get potatoes in this country, believe it or not, with the right quality and the right quantity and the right size and right sugar content and moisture content. So it's really about whatever business you're going into, it's really about understanding what are the inputs you need, and ensuring that they're readily available locally. And if they're not readily available, how are you going to source them? And how willing and able are you, how many resources do you have to actually go back into your value chain, and work on it? Because what we've found is we now have to work with smallholder farmers, which is a rewarding experience in itself, but it's not our core business of manufacturing and marketing. But if we want to survive, if we want to continue, we built this great brand, we have to get involved all the way upstream. So that's very much on the supply side. And on the demand side, it's obviously about getting your value chain right. It's about getting your channel partners right. It's an extremely challenging time in Kenya for FMCG because a lot of channel partners are in trouble. Yeah, so you have these supermarket chains who, for whatever which reason, are struggling with their cash flows, are struggling to pay their suppliers. So it's a bit of a dilemma because on one hand, as a manufacturer, you have this ready market. You know there's 45 million Kenyans, many of which want your product, but you have these channel partners who are somewhat financially unstable. So how do you get to your customers? So I would urge other entrepreneurs to really think about that. Who are your channel partners? What is your route to market? And how can you do it in such a way that it's not going to affect your cash flows too much? Because most businesses fail not because they don't turn a profit, not because they don't make sales. It's because they don't have cash flow. So I think that's something to be really, aware of. In general, there are a lot of challenges here. There are challenges to the legal system, there are challenges to the banking system, there are challenges with corruption, and these can make it extremely challenging for an entrepreneur who, say, wants a very cut and dry, very straightforward working environment with, I think entrepreneurship by its very nature lends to the kind of character who likes uncertainty, who can thrive in uncertainty. But Kenya just adds another level of uncertainty to that. And you just have to be ready for that. You have to be ready for every challenge. You wake up today, there's a new challenge. How are we going to tackle it? How are we going to face it? What are we going to do about it? What's the latest regulatory issue? What's the latest challenge that we're facing, and be ready to overcome or transcend those challenges. But our industry is an interesting industry, both snacking and fast-moving consumer goods in general. I think there's growth. I think there's room for growth. And I think it's just about finding your niche and finding how do you differentiate. There's a lot of people doing Me Too products, and it's unlikely it's going to work unless your value proposition is really about price, and that's the market you're going for. Me Too products are not going to work. You need to think out of the box. You need to think, what value am I adding above and beyond what's already there? Principles. We do all this vision, mission stuff for our businesses, but do we ever do it for ourselves? Do we ever wake up and say, what's my vision in life? What's my mission in life? What are my values? How do I live by those values? How do I exhibit those values? And I really think it's important for entrepreneurs and any leaders to do that work. Yeah, and how do you do that work? I think there are a lot of tools out there that help you to do that work. There are programs, there are courses, but a lot of it is going within. Things like meditation, things like yoga, things like mindfulness, things like going and sitting on a beach somewhere and contemplating life, things like journaling. I mean, these might sound all very soft and wishy-washy, but the truth is, unless you get that right, unless you've done that inner journey, that personal leadership piece, it's very unlikely you can be a successful leader for long. Because sooner or later something will rub up against your values, something will be wrong, something will not feel right. You suddenly wake up in the morning and you're not motivated anymore, and you're like, why? And then how are you supposed to lead a whole team through crisis or through whatever you're going through? So I think it's all starts with personal leadership, and there are great books on that topic by people like Robin Sharma, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, Saint Surf and the CEO. There are people like Stephen Covey, The 7 Habits. So I think there's a lot of literature out there, but do the personal leadership stuff. In life, we all face challenges and setbacks. For us as a business, we had a fire last year. The whole factory burned down. Luckily, nobody was hurt. But it was a setback. A significant setback. It was hard. We were down out of the market for 7-8 months. And it felt like a huge blow. But I think that we all have a certain inbuilt resilience. We all have a certain inbuilt strength that's there deep inside. And we'll only know about it when it's called upon. So I would say don't give up. I would say look deep within. And I would look at impact. I think when you take a situation and you depersonalize it, so you take a crisis you're going through in life, it could be a health challenge, it could be a business challenge, it could be something we face similar to what we face, and you depersonalize it, and you don't make it all about you. You come out of that depressed state of mind and you start to find solutions. So what I mean is, in our situation, when the fire happened, instead of saying, why me? How could this happen to me? It's not fair. And maybe a part of me did dwell on that for a day or two. But after that, I started to think about all the lives that this business was impacting. We have hundreds of farmers in Bomet in Meru who are dependent on our contract for their livelihoods. We had over 100 employees, again, who are feeding their families, who are dependent on this as their primary income source. We had distributors and customers, some of whom 40% of their sales, of their turnover, was our product. So when I realized that Norda, our business, is so much bigger than me and myself and my needs, then it gave me the strength as a leader to pick up and to lead the team through the crisis and to get back on our feet and to start up again and to become a thriving, successful enterprise all over again. So I would advise any leader, anybody going through a tough time, depersonalize it and turn your attention to others and service to others, and you'll get through the tough time.